Hello, everyone. Welcome to the squad. This is the Park Squad Pod, a podcast where four friends catch up and chat about all things Disney, day-to-day life, and more. My name is Brandon, and I am your host for today's episode, and I'm here with the rest of the squad.
I'm Heidi.
I'm Tommy.
And I'm Haley.
Welcome to episode 17, the Disney College program so far, and the squad chit chat. So we're just going to kind of chop it up, do some chats. It'll just be like you're on like a little FaceTime call with us and we're catching up about all the stuff. Like most specifically, I guess, my Disney College program, my first couple weeks of that, and then kind of getting into some random Disney stuff and then just things that we've all been kind of doing or that we're looking forward to and kind of what's on the horizon for the squad this coming summer. So how's everyone doing out there?
We're good. We're living vicariously through you.
Yeah, absolutely. Every vlog that drops, I'm like, yes.
Like just getting our like daily dose of Disney, like just directly through you.
Yeah.
So it's been nice getting like new vlogs because there's only so many people that like I really like watching them. And so I like don't get like a whole lot of Disney sometimes. And so I knew with you going down there, we would get like a whole new wave of all of the Disney things.
Yeah, I don't really watch much Disney vlogs at all, really, unless it's kind of over her shoulder, so to speak, if she's watching it on the television. But I was waiting all year for this to, not all year, but you know what I mean?
Since you decided to go.
To come around, because I remember, last summer it was keeping me going through the doldrums of summer, those new vlogs. It's been nice, like Haley said, to have someone on the ground, boots on the ground, to live vicariously through. It's been a treat.
I send Brandon like 8 different Disney foods like every week to like try and different things that I want to try and I can't try. So I just send them to him.
Yeah. And Heidi also, she always like, she wants me to post often and get them up quick. Yeah. She says,
edit the vlog. He's like, I'm tired. I'm like, it doesn't matter. You have to.
And then she's like, if it comes out on Friday, can you have it edited for Thursday and uploaded so I can watch it Thursday instead? She wants it early. So
watch it in the studio.
Sneak peek.
Yeah. So we're over here trying. I have tried to do 3 videos a week, which is kind of hard sometimes, and it hasn't happened perfectly so far. But I think that it's been so fun again to do this program again, and I guess we're kind of just going right into it. But it's just been fun to be here, and I feel like this year, like doing it again, I feel like that it's very different, but everything feels kind of the same still. Like my location for work's the same, but like a lot of the people are different and just kind of all that stuff. But it's been cool to see like how the crowds are here and do some different things, which we were talking about like earlier before coming on. And then Haley was like, stop, we have to talk about this on the podcast instead of just like a chat. But like I'm trying new different things and kind of all that stuff has just been like really cool. So there's been some stuff lately that I've done that I have never done. And that was my whole thing today, which I guess that I can kind of touch on because everyone's dying to know about Columbia Harbor House, which is the internet's favorite Disney quick service, which I had today because today, which is like the same day that we're filming this, I was at the Magic Kingdom doing all of the things that I've never done there, which I didn't get to finish everything because the park is so busy. Like I was saying earlier to them, Small World was like a 45-minute wait. Peter Pan was 80 minutes. Haunted Mansion was 80 minutes. Meeting Cinderella was like 90 minutes. Like everything is
crazy. That's crazy.
So busy. And I don't know if it's because of like the holiday and maybe people kind of carried over into the week or something, but it was really busy. But I did have Columbia Harbor House, which if there's any fans out there, then I'm happy for you because it was great. But I think it depends on the weather. And I know that Tommy has talked about this so often about that this kind of food doesn't seem like it would be like great in hot weather. And I think that I could see that, but it was really good. And I think that it's also cool that it's something different. Like we were saying, that it's not kind of the classic stuff. And even if it is, it's fun to get like a fried fish and some hush puppies.
That's what, I really like fried seafood. Like that's like one of the things where when my family and I used to go on vacation, that would be something where like 4 days in a row, I'm just eating like the fried seafood sampler, like every single time we go to dinner.
Shrimp.
Yeah, like coconut shrimp, any fried fish I love. I think like fried shrimp is, probably my second favorite way to consume shrimp behind cocktail. But yeah, I like it. It's just Columbia Harbor House is one of those things where all of the kind of factors would never result in me being like, oh yeah, this is the place to eat. Cause it's like theme park seafood.
Yes.
In like the hottest, most humid like place in our country. So like just like all that together, it's just like it doesn't sound like it would be good, but I guess like if they execute it well, it's just like a chicken tender, you know what I mean? So I'm glad to hear that it's good because it was one of those things where I didn't believe into the hype so much, and the hype was so consistent that I like kind of came all the way back around and then got really excited for it. So it's good to know that it, you know, it lived up. It met the expectations, it sounds like.
Yeah, I feel like generally we're like in the heart of like popular Disney opinions. Like we have ones that differ, but like if people think something's great, we usually agree. And I feel like we were so far out of this one, and not that we even thought it was bad, that we were like just not even willing to try it. Like it was like not like, I don't think I could have. I mean, I have gone to Magic Kingdom probably over 100 times at this point in my life. Never once, unless there's like a specialty treat, would I think of stopping in there for food.
No, and I will say this is not a place for you, Heidi. Unfortunately, I feel, because
it's a little stanky in there.
I feel like it's a bit of a fishy stank in there.
That's my problem.
What I will say, there was no tables available. It was jam packed, and there's like an upper level and a lower level packed.
I'm surprised by that because, like, again, I guess it's good clearly, but like, who's going to Disney in the heat and thinking, yeah, let's take the kids in here and let's give them some seafood and hush puppies. Like, I guess people are doing it.
But also, like, you can get chicken tenders in there, and other than Cosmic Rays, like, there's not a ton of AC places to eat. So I feel like the seating being filled isn't super surprising.
Yeah, I was gonna say it feels like such an inside baseball thing, like where it's popular amongst people who are like operating at that level above like baseline Disney guests, where like, you know, the general populace is just going to like hang out and have a fun time, where there's like a level right above that where you're like watching blogs and getting tips and tricks and stuff like that. But it is one of those things where you're kind of, you know, you only have so many options. So I'm sure that like a ton of people are just like, yeah, well, you know, yeah, Cosmic Rays was slammed. We'll just go to Columbia Harbor House. Let's see what they have.
People choose it now.
Yeah, but now it's kind of come full circle, and it's like, yeah, it's the place to be, I guess. It's still so crazy to me, I think.
Yeah. Like I'll say, they're slinging lobster rolls. They got clam,
so crazy.
All that stuff, which I didn't get those. I feel like that those are probably the two most like risque items. Like if you were gonna get them, I think those are kind of ones that are like, oh, like a lobster roll from a theme park or clam chowder. But people were getting them today, and it was like so hot. And there was one guy walking by, and he had his cooling towel on. He was wiping off and eating his clam chowder out of the bowl.
That's crazy.
Like, yeah.
Eating soup while you're sweating you're just like in a perpetual steam bath. And like that, I don't know.
No, I was gonna say maybe it's like one of those things where we're all kind of originally from the same general geographic region. Like
we're from the Northeast.
Like the Northeast, like kind of like close enough to the coast where that food is a little bit maybe more commonplace, and then we associate it with like the common times to eat that and like the standard climate in those areas. But I guess if you're from like Oklahoma or Arizona or Washington or something like that, it's just like a fun,
or like the
novel,
UK, where it's not like somewhere you can get clam chowder
in Asia or South America, and you come over and it's just like it's like a fun novelty menu. It doesn't even like
super old timey, like Jamestown, USA.
Yeah, that it doesn't even phase you that you're eating like clam chowder in 95-degree heat with 80% humidity. Maybe it's just like it doesn't even factor in.
Yeah, my brain, and I know that this is wrong, goes gas station sushi. Yeah. When I think about eating clam chowder or like lobster roll from Magic Kingdom, I'm like, well, I'm gonna get sick, so I shouldn't do that. And like obviously, like I literally eat sushi from Disney World. Like Epcot sushi is like some of my favorite things to eat, but I don't know why it feels so like, and like Disney does all of their food well, so it's absolutely unsurprising that this is good. But my brain goes gas station, like you can't risk that. Like you cannot, like you said, like it's a risky food. Like eating a lobster roll where you can like walk outside and like watch a parade from Disney World seems too crazy.
Well, and it just also like, I think that maybe part of it is like the vibe of it. Like, I don't know if it's because it seems old. Then I think that you kind of associate that it's just like, it's like in this one section of the park that nobody really hangs out in, like in Liberty Square. And then it's kind of just like a random food. So Haley, when you come, we can split a lobster roll and a clam chowder.
Seriously, I think that's what I would want is a lobster roll because it seems like actually refreshing.
Yeah.
But and maybe we'll have to like just get some fans and set them up and eat some clam chowder also.
And then I was going to say, for anybody who doesn't know, Heidi's a very picky eater. So this would not be her number one choice of a place.
No. What about their fried fish though? Like I like fried fish.
Yeah, I actually think that you would like the fried fish because it's just fried fish and it has like tartar sauce and stuff. And I'll say that the shrimp came with like a cocktail sauce.
Yeah.
So that's kind of fun.
Fancy.
Yeah,
So
I like what
anyway,
I'm hearing,
Yeah, but I do think that, like you said, like the vibe is a little dingy, which I think hurts from an outsider's perspective. And like what you said to Heidi earlier, the smell throws me off. Like when I
Agreed.
walk in there, it's really tough for me to get
Yep.
through. Like we went to get some haunted mansion milkshake one time,
yeah.
was in there, and I went to get it, and I think I like struggled standing in the line. I am like so sensitive to like fish smells.
I'm just laughing though, because Haley, you like you're kind of the same as me, where you do anything for a themed different
Oh,
ice cream
absolutely.
item
100%. Yeah, I like will hold my nose and hold my breath for 20 minutes waiting in line, but I'm going to get the
and come out with
purple
it.
and black milkshake with
Yeah.
the striped straw. Yeah.
Well, we went back and forth on just going all in and getting like the fish burger with the
Yeah, we
black
did.
bun. We didn't end
Yeah.
up doing it, but it was tempting under normal circumstances. That would have been considered, but you changed the color of the bun and it piqued our interest for sure.
Yeah, you put theming on anything and I'm
I agree.
1,000% in.
Yeah. Yeah. So
And
my
I'll pay
day,
any amounts of money for it.
I
It's like
know
where
you
this
could.
like it's where this whole channel is from and the podcast has started.
Yeah.
Like, just fully in.
Fully send it. But yeah, like it was a really good day of like new different things. And I don't want to like, I guess, spoil everything, but I did do Hall of Presidents for the first time. I also
How was
went
that
to
40-minute show?
Well, so I think that I didn't know what to expect. And I feel like as a Canadian person going in there, it was very like, it's like a lot. It's like, this happened, and then we did this for this, and it was like, and then we changed this, and this is America, and it was like this whole thing. And then like the thing lifts up, and it's just all of these animatronic presidents that are all sitting there looking, and you're like, holy cow, there's so many presidents, and every single one has an animatronic. And then like Abe Lincoln standing up, and it's just like it was a lot going on, and it was a long show. But like I'm glad that I did it, because I feel like that when we did our rankings, like we'd come on here and go, this is whatever, like a 15, because we've never done it. But now I can confidently say that it probably is a 15, if not lower, and I've done it.
Perfect.
So I just think that was interesting. And then I did that, and then I also did the Tom Sawyer's Island.
Wasn't that fun? Isn't it like more interesting than you think?
It is a 10 out of 10.
10 out of 10.
See?
You liked it.
Yes, it was so good. I don't know that I would go every time, but I
No.
feel like it'd be fun if like all four of us went, or me and Heidi went. Like, I think that it'd be really fun. There's some caves in there. One of them, this is so funny. We went in one of the caves, and you can tell that it's so old because it's so small. And my friends go, and I go, I don't even think that I can go through here. And then I try the one, and I'm like this, and it's kind of like a throwback to the MRI story that I said, like this, walking through. And then I said, I can't. And I turn around. Well, there's a whole group of people now coming, and I go, oh, sorry, go ahead. And they go like, you're not going to go. I go, I don't even think that I can fit through. And then my friends went through and said that I actually probably wouldn't have been able to even go through some of them.
It's not
So-
surprising. Like even like I told him, I went by myself, and I'm like a big scaredy cat. Like I
I was
don't
gonna
love
say,
like
yeah.
dark
Yeah.
spaces, even though it's like at Disney World. But there was a bear over there, so I was rightfully frightened.
Yeah.
But they're
Wait,
like
really?
really dark and really like you don't know when it ends. You don't know how long you're gonna be in
No.
them when you walk in. Like they're like it's like the unknown.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she was sending me. I was like probably working, and she was at Disney World, and she was sending me pictures like, "Look how scary this cave on Tom Sawyer's Island." is." I said,
was.
"What are you
It was
talking about?" Like,
it is genuinely, and like some of
Yeah.
them there's like an animatronic owl in one of them that just goes whoo, and it's like so weird.
Yeah, it's like old like forts. Like it looks
Yeah.
like war forts.
yeah. That makes
Heidi,
sense. I mean,
you would love it, Heidi. I feel like
I want to go.
I think
Yeah.
getting a coffee and like going like the first raft
Mhm.
over is like the move.
yeah. And all that I could keep thinking the whole time was like they should make this something for like a Mickey's Not So Scary. If it was like a Dr. Facilier little island now that Tiana's there, like something like if you walk through those caves and it was like a Halloween party, I think that could be so like cool. And I feel like that, like, I don't know, there was more people going there today, but I think it's because the park was busy.
Yeah.
But like, I think that you could do something to get people to go there if it was like, you know,
Well, I feel like Oogie Boogie has that like villains gulch or whatever,
Yes.
like that like walkthrough area where it's like the different villains meeting. And that would be really cool because I feel like you just like pump some fog in there
yeah,
and like put some like purple and green lights and it just like it's already a little spooky. So that's
I
all you
agree.
need.
yeah,
I wonder what the mechanics of like getting people on and off that island consistently would look like. Because
Right.
to your
It's
point,
true.
it feels like one of those things where it wouldn't really get busy unless the rest of the park is absolutely slammed.
Yeah.
So I wonder how easily they could facilitate like an actual queuing line to get onto the island, because I think that
Yeah.
would be cool, and it's totally
Well-
underutilized space. So it'd be nice for them to do something exciting like that, even if it is just for like a more specialized event, like a holiday party or something like that. But I just wonder if
the queues are built for a lot of people.
Yeah, for sure.
Especially getting on the island. I think getting off is like a little smaller because I guess people like trickle off instead of like all going in one big group.
Yeah.
But it's like a quick ride. But the problem too is that like if it lightnings, you can't come off. Like they can't let you on the boat.
That'd be
so nuts. I think they like try and like get you off when it's like sprinkling, because I do think that you're like stuck. I don't think they can put you on the raft if there's like lightning in the area.
No.
That makes sense.
All that I could think the whole time is, what if something happened in this cave? There's nobody around. Like if you were alone, if you were alone in those caves and like something happened, you'd kind of be having to yell for a cast member to come and save you in those caves. But Heidi, when
in the middle of nowhere.
No, but like we'll do it when you come here, and I feel like that you'll see that it's like it is a bit spooky. It's very cool. I feel like that it's one of those things. I think now, like after doing it, that I had a really good time. The little like refreshment place like wasn't open, but I think that it's it's random hours and stuff. But
I don't know that it opens at all anymore.
At all, okay. There we go.
I don't think it has been since the pandemic at least.
There we go. Yeah,
but it's also like longer. Like you can get like pretty close to the Haunted Mansion, which is cool. And there's like little like barrel like floating barrels you can walk on, like bridges. There's a lot of elements. I feel like it's like the perfect place to bring like a 7-year-old boy.
Yeah. Heidi, you're gonna and you're not a
7-year-old.
No, but I'm gonna say Heidi's gonna love it. So I'm excited. And this is like a spoiler that Heidi's coming, which when this is coming out, Heidi would have been here Saturday, Sunday, and is there today, Monday, which is exciting. Yeah. So we'll get to do all the things, Heidi, that you want to do that you've never got to do.
I don't know if we're doing that because we might not be able to go to Magic Kingdom, he said.
True, because I'm blocked out. Which this is crazy.
Oh no, I can't.
I'm blocked out all of June and July. Magic Kingdom.
So crazy.
That is so nuts. Yeah,
which is crazy. But Tiana's is happening as well, which we can kind of chat about, which is fun. And Haley is going to get to come and do it because I got a cast preview for Tiana's at the end of June, which I think cast previews start on June 2nd for Magic Kingdom cast members, and then the 3rd for like every other cast member. So like if you do see videos or things coming out there from people, it's because cast members are getting to ride the ride, which is like I think really cool and exciting, and it means that we're so close because it opens at the end of June, which is really awesome. I think it's going to be so cool, and I really do think that it's going to be something that you really like notice that it's going to be a big crowd thing that a lot of people will do, and it's going to be very well needed there because like I said earlier, like the parks have been pretty busy. There was like a lull last week where they were kind of dead, but like Disney Springs and Magic Kingdom specifically, the last few days have been
the videos of Disney
busy.
Springs are crazy.
Yeah, the one from the Monday Memorial Day, I think, was when, or whenever the first, maybe it was a couple of days before, whenever the first day of the drone show was.
Yeah.
I saw a video, and it was nuts. It was shoulder to shoulder.
Yeah, I would have turned right around
all the way across. Yeah, it's definitely not worth it.
Yeah. There's no way I'm sending that
from the parking garage or something, I guess.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I saw, that you can see some of it from the parking garage, which is cool.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah. I'm going to wait till it kind of dies down a bit because I was going to go this weekend, but then I'm like, it's going to be insane.
Well, and I was going to say, Brandon, I think a lot of schools are out. Like their first day of summer was recently. So I think that that's why it's so busy too, is that like Florida schools I know are out, and then there's a bunch of schools that are ending now. So I think everyone's just going on vacation.
Heidi's laughing at me over there.
Because you said, I'm going to go this weekend. I said, how are you going this weekend?
Sorry. I meant this weekend that just passed when it opened. I was going to go.
He's just going to go by himself. And
no.
Just leave Heidi it.
I meant this past weekend. Yeah. Joke's on you. My shift's actually covered. Saturday night, I'm going to watch the drone show. No, but there's lots happening, which I think is like it's really cool. Like Epcot's going to be opening soon, like at the beginning of June, all that stuff, like the Mickey and Friends meet and greet and those things. I think that it's a really good time, like for the summer, like at the parks. There's lots happening, and then D23 and like, which this is very interesting, is a lot of like leadership people have been telling me that this expo, from what they're hearing, is going to be very big. So I think
it
that's
to
be cool. Has to be, which is,
I mean, even just looking around at the rest of the market, right? Like I feel like every 6 weeks there is something Universal in the news, where the preceding 4 years it was never like that, right? Like I think that it's always kind of Disney first, and then Universal was in the background. So even kind of just looking at, you know, the market situation as a whole, it definitely, I mean, if we're noticing it, right, like you have to imagine that Disney leadership of high is also realizing that there's been a lack of juice sort of in the public, even though there has been kind of exciting developments. I just think that some of it might have been delayed to an extent where they lost some of the impact, right? Like the kind of reopening of Epcot is something I totally forgot was even going to happen, just because I think it got so entrenched in everyone's mind that this is just like, oh, what Epcot is now, and it lost all of its excitement. Where it's going to be, I'm sure when it happens, it's going to be really cool, but all of the kind of hype around it has kind of fizzled out. So it definitely feels like the time to kind of reinvigorate the masses with some new exciting announcements.
But even that, like, it's not a new ride. Like the Epcot opening, like cool. Like it's going to be like pretty to look at and like cool to walk around, and like great that there's not going to be construction walls up anymore.
Yeah.
But like just being like kind of like devil's advocate for Universal is that like they're pumping out like rides, lands, food, themes, and like it's good. Like all of like the Shrek stuff looks amazing. Like that DreamWorks land looks great.
Well, that's what DreamWorks land is getting, like rave, like kind of reviews and press, and it's a total afterthought behind
Epic Universe.
It really is.
It's, you know, they're kind of
and like one of the rides is like a full kiddie coaster. Like the like little Trolls ride like isn't even meant for adults, and it's getting a ton of love because they're like, I just feel like they wait to say they're going to do something, and then when they say it, they're going to do it. So I feel like Disney has to follow suit with this D23, is that like whatever they say, it can't be like 2028, get ready for one new ride coming to Magic Kingdom. Like it needs to be like, here's the timestamps and we're going to make our our date on all of it.
Yeah, for sure. I agree. And I feel like that it's like one of those things like down here that you notice that I think not like the hype for some things that I think that Disney counts on are kind of like gone. But I think even stuff like a Tron Guardians, obviously those are busy, but I feel like that they are kind of at this point, like I don't even know how old Guardians is, but I feel like that people are waiting for like a new thing, right? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. No, and I was going to say too, just kind of going back to the Splash Mountain retheme, so Tiana's Bayou. I was going to ask, one, how long you think the wait is going to be when it's open to public?
Yeah.
And two, I wanted to touch on, we talked about it briefly, but about the annual pass previews, because I think it's super interesting. And if I were an annual pass holder, I think I would be a little disappointed by how they're doing it this year.
Yeah.
So we can start with how long you think it's going to wait. Like the wait will be that first, first day, but like the whole first month. How long do you think that average wait's going to be at?
I think it's going to be pretty long, I think, for a while. And I think what I'm interested is it's going to be virtual queue to start off. So I don't know how that's going to work. If you're going to be able to hold a Tron and a Tiana's, will you be able to have both of those because they're both in the same park? And then you have like a Guardians one in there. And I know like right now they're doing like the 7 a.m. and then like a 1 p.m. and now park hopping's earlier and stuff. So I don't know how that's going to work, but I think because it's a princess and because it's a big princess and because it's this new ride with a lot of animatronics that look really cool, it looks really beautiful from the outside, the whole vibe is awesome. Like, I think that it's going to be pretty long. And I'm trying to think like when Guardians kind of first opened, how long like the wait sometimes has been, but even now still sometimes you wait a while for Guardians. So I think
we went to the preview, so it was like a limited amount of people allowed in, and we easily waited 45 minutes in Guardians.
Yeah.
And that was with virtual queue with a preview.
Yeah. Like, and I was going to say for me and Heidi one time did a Tron virtual queue and we waited for 2 hours for Tron in the sun.
I was going to say, I think that they really need to figure it out before they drop that virtual queue.
Yeah.
Because you're going to spend, and like, I guess it's good, but like the thing that stinks is that you like, it's not even worth getting a park hopper the day you go to Magic Kingdom, I don't think, if you have Tiana's like on your mind, because if you get the 7 a.m. one, maybe if it's early, but if you don't, like you're going to be waiting for your virtual queue to be called. And then once it's called, you're going to be in line easily 2 hours, I think.
Yeah.
And that queue,
really 2 hours with I feel like that's really long.
But they waited for Tron, and Tron's been open forever, and people don't even like it that much.
Yeah.
And the ride is 7 seconds.
I guess that's true. Well, I guess question, and I don't know if anybody knows. Have they ever run concurrent virtual queues, or is it when one virtual queue opens, the previous one is no longer virtual?
That's
queue?
what they've done.
That's what I thought. So like when Tron came out and went virtual queue, Guardians of the Galaxy was standby.
No. In the
They
same
run it
park,
concurrently.
yes.
Okay.
I just mean in the same park.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it would have been whatever Remy's they moved to standby. Okay.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
I don't know how that works. I don't really trust my Disney Experience app to be able to handle people clamoring for two different virtual queues. Are you able to get both? Like, I don't know.
And like, I don't know. I think the average Disney goer that doesn't understand these virtual queues is going to be wildly disappointed when they're here for 10 days and don't get one time to ride Tiana's.
It's a bit tough. Like I've talked to families lately who are like, oh, like when it opens, am I going to have to like buy Tron, buy Tiana's, and then buy Genie Plus to ride stuff? And it's like,
yes.
I don't know. I get like,
but it guarantees you the ride. Like, I think if it's something that you really want, if there's one open, you have to buy it.
Yeah.
Also, what do you think that price is going to be on Tiana's?
Well, so
individual.
Like, as of lately, so like I know this from yesterday because at work, one of our things is we have to know the Genie prices, and the Hollywood Studios only, which this is not Magic Kingdom, but that price was $26 for the day for Genie Plus, and then $29 for like all of the parks. And then I think that Guardians was $20, and I think Flight of Passage was like 17 or 16, and then Tron I think was around the same as Guardians, like around $20.
Because I was going to say, like, originally they had like a cap on the amount that they were going to put it, but I feel like they kind of blew the lid off of that, and then they've just been willing to climb since then.
Yeah, but we've like we've done that before, Heidi, where we've booked you like a Flight of Passage. We've done Guardians because like sometimes, which
it used to be cheaper though. Like
it did for sure.
Like, I would not be paying $20 to ride every ride and buy Genie Plus. Like that would be like $100 a day. Plus
what, $179 park ticket?
Yeah. Like that seems a bit a lot. In my
opinion. I think the kind of, in theory, what people are thinking is hopefully you're able to get a Tron and Tiana's virtual queue, and then you're set, or you do one at 7 and one at 1. And then that's how they're going to kind of compensate.
Yeah.
I guess another topic, food for thought. When Tiana's comes out, is there a demand for a Tron virtual queue like that?
No.
Like I like Tron, but I think Tron is like kind of like received middling reviews.
Yeah.
So if you like remove the virtual queue from Tron, put it over on Tiana's, like is Tron a 45-minute wait throughout the day, like a 45 to 80-minute wait throughout the day? Like I think
it's 45 minutes, but
it's not out of the realm of possibility.
Totally fine.
Right?
Yeah.
I agree. So maybe this will be like a transition of like Tiana's will be, and then eventually Tron will not be. That's fair.
And maybe people who haven't rode Tron see it as a virtual queue and is like, oh, it's like a hot commodity. I have to get it. And that's why the line is still like 2 hours long.
That's true. Yeah. And then the whole like annual pass thing, which this is interesting. So for cast previews for myself, we just went on like our hub, and at midnight of, I think it was like last week, maybe one day or maybe 2 weeks ago, I forget exactly when it was, but like you went on and then it kind of populated and you picked your day and your time slot. It's like an hour time slot or like an hour and a half time slot that you have to go there. But annual pass holders, they had to book a park reservation on the days that they're doing pass holder previews. And then at that morning at 7 a.m., try to get a virtual queue, so you could book a reservation, book a trip, come out here to Disney, like get a resort, whatever, get a park ticket. Well, I guess because you have your annual pass, so you don't need that, but get a resort and all that stuff and come here. And then you could not even get a virtual queue in the morning, which I think is very interesting. And I don't know from experience, I know that you guys will, how things have been in the past, but I think it's a little bit tough to do it that way.
I agree. I think I guess when we first talked about it, I thought you had to be in the park. Like I thought it was kind of like a 1 p.m. one, which that changes it a little bit. But I have to imagine that they're not going to be very lenient with missing your time slot, because I think the demand is going to be incredibly high. So when we got to do Tron preview and we got to do Guardians preview as annual pass holders, living 2.5 hours away from the park, so we weren't like a hop and a skip. We kind of had to like plan around it, and I had to take off of work. Like it was they're always midweek.
Yeah.
So how it used to be was kind of like, I guess, like the cast member ones. So you would just go on at the time, and then you would sit in this like waiting queue. It was kind of like anytime, like if you've ever done Run Disney, it's like booking the tickets for that. If you did D23, it's like booking the tickets for that, where you're like just waiting to go through. And then once you do it, you can select like anybody who's linked to your My Disney experience with an annual pass. You can choose, because we accidentally booked one for our friend Chelsea with us. And I was like, well, hope you can go because I accidentally booked it for you. And so you book it, and then it kind of just like gives you a day. Like you have some you can choose from, but they go so quick. So you kind of have to just choose, but then you can plan your day around it. And did we need a park reservation in order to go? I don't think we did. I think that our pass, like our preview, acted as a park reservation. So it ended up being, I think it's better if you're traveling from afar because you can actually plan.
Yes.
Instead of, like you said, like one of my coworkers is an annual pass holder right now, and she's a little annoyed by the process because she can't plan a trip around it. She has to plan a trip and then hope that she can get in it, which like might be a big no.
Yeah. Yeah. I just think that it's kind of tough. And I feel like also, like when I was talking about like our blockout dates, like I'm blocked out, like I said, all of June. Now they added 2 days where we're not blocked out, and then all of July. So I think that they're anticipating this is going to be very big for Magic Kingdom, and they need to have like all of the capacity that they can, which is fair because it's like it's got to be for the regular guest, which makes sense. But like I'll be intrigued, like you said, Tommy, at like because like I think that there's a lot of rides there that I think that people just like to your point as well, Haley, of like a mine train is kind of the same as a Tron, where people like know that it's busy, so it's got to be good, so we wait for it or we pay for it because it's like one of the biggest things there. So I think now having this there, how is that going to kind of shift like the dynamic of Magic Kingdom, and what's going to happen again? Like if they do D23 stuff, like this park could really get to be something that's like, it's like a whole day, if not maybe 2 days sometimes for stuff if it's super busy. If you add Tiana's and a new land with a bunch of rides, I think it's going to be very interesting how that's going to go.
I do think it needs that though, but when they expand it, they can't expand the capacity. Like it's getting to a point where on busy days, I don't want anything to do with Magic Kingdom. Like I look at those like POV kind of things of like the crowd levels, and Magic Kingdom is just the last place I want to be. And even though Hollywood Studios is hotter, it's more cramped, I would rather be there on a busy day than Magic Kingdom.
Yeah, I was gonna kind of echo and say something similar, is that I like we've kind of been talking about, interested to see what shift in wait times and crowds occurs when Tiana's does open, because it'll be like I think it's probably like significantly more marquee than Tron. There's just more brand awareness around the underlying intellectual property, and it's like a retheme of a well-known and beloved ride, opposed to kind of a copy and paste from a ride in Shanghai, I believe. But like, what if there is no like reshuffling, and like Mine Train is still expensive and busy, and Tron is still, super busy and, like costing $18 or whatever to go on it? Like, what next, right? Like, and I guess it's like a little bit of an open-ended question, but I'm kind of interested to see if expansion of Magic Kingdom is something that they have to kind of push for, just out of the fact of, a lot of the word of mouth around that park in particular, but Walt Disney World as a whole is, it was great when my family went 10 years ago, but now that like when we go, we can't do anything, right? Like, and I feel like that's a shared experience, and obviously not kind of the desired outcome for a lot of guests, especially the guests who are, they're not listening to this podcast, right? They're just like, they planned for 5 years to go to Walt Disney World, and they go and they like expect to have sort of the ability to do everything they want to do. Kind of what is needed from the parks, in order to, start shifting back towards that, especially now that COVID is more in the rearview mirror than it has been, obviously, in years past.
And I do think it's harder for the average family, like that person going once in every 5 years or once ever. It's harder to navigate going to the Disney parks. Like, I think that without any knowledge, like if you're just booking the tickets, like it's like when I feel like travel agents are really well worth it. Like they may not save you a lot of money, but they have tips. It's like, I feel like people that I talk to like in my non-Disney life now are like, oh yeah, like I guess like we've stumbled upon like this Disney vlog and like started watching before our trip. I feel like that's like an MO for people now going to Disney, because they need so much background information
Yeah.
Like you want to go on Tiana's, you have to get a virtual queue. If you want a virtual queue, you have to wake up at 6:55. If you want a virtual queue, you need to be watching the second hand and literally having everyone in your party doing it. It's not
Yeah.
there's no like flying by the seat of your pants, like not having a plan. I don't think at Disney anymore, which
Yeah.
I enjoy because I'm a planner and I like being able to experience a lot of things. But I think it's really hard for people going only once.
It is. And I was going to say this because I think that Heidi, you're a good test of how long that you would wait for things. I feel like that you're like a realist every time that we go. So it's like for you, for Tiana, is like how long, which knowing what Splash Mountain is and knowing what it is, like how long would you say that would be like a good reasonable wait that you would actually wait without having obviously wrote it, but just of like the perception? Because I think that kind of then gauges like for me, like even for Guardians, like I don't know if I could wait like over an hour for Guardians. Like I love how the virtual queue is, but like sometimes when it's a bit long, even when you see it kind of like wrapping through, it's like, oh, like it's gonna be a little while, which is so silly. It's not. But yeah, I don't know what you think, Heidi.
Well, I don't know, because I was gonna say like a pretty long time. Like I was gonna say like if I had to wait 3 hours, I would wait to ride Tiana's for the first time.
For the
But
first
that's
time,
because-
absolutely.
Yeah, because I think it's like it's a big hype thing. It's like when I think about even like Rise of Resistance, wasn't that like even, I mean, not when it was like the virtual queue or whatever, but when you could wait, like that
It
was
was
like
long,
4 hours
yeah.
plus and people were waiting for that.
Yeah.
So I feel like it's gonna be a draw like that. And like I personally would probably wait like 3 hours because yeah, like we waited 2 hours for Tron. I would never do that. But to ride something for the first time, the fact that it's like it's actually a long ride, like in the first place, like regardless of what's happening on the ride, it's gonna be a thorough ride. It's gonna be good. I personally would wait that long, but I don't know if it will be that long of a wait.
That's where my brain was at too. We waited for Flight of Passage for like 240 minutes, I think.
Yeah.
Was the time, and that was worth every second of it. I don't think I would do it again.
No,
but riding it for the first time, I feel like the threshold for what you're willing to wait, like Heidi said, like is just higher.
Yeah.
Because I'm not a line waiter either. Like I feel like we all go to Disney too often to be waiting like an hour for a ride that we've ridden literally countless times. But I think for the first time, you have to just kind of wait like indefinitely. Like I'm not waiting 5 hours, but I would
No, I
wait
agree.
like 3 hours.
Well, and I was going to say one thing as well that I've noticed, because now that I'm back here, I'm trying to do Guardians often, obviously, but they've also sped up that process. Like, I think that it's very like, I think the average that I've waited, even getting sometimes like a little bit of a later group, is like a 20-minute, like, and it's which isn't bad. Like, and that's including probably like the pre-show times. Like, I think that they've kind of got that down, but I'm interested how Tiana's will be, which is I think more of like a family like friendly ride, whereas Guardians is more of a thrill. There's probably like a height requirement, which also Tiana's probably does. But I think again, like when you compare like the Guardians of the Galaxy to like a princess, I think like a princess attraction, especially when really I don't even know if there really are even any other princess ones. Like there's like the Ariel little ride and then some Belle stuff. Like I guess there's a couple things, but nothing to this like grand of a scale of a princess. Because even like Frozen Ever After is not on this level. Like I feel like it's just, I think this is going to be, and that sometimes gets up to 80, 90, 100 minutes for Frozen.
Yeah, I think it'll be pretty high. I think that I think when I think of like Disney princesses at the moment, like who is like the star, like who little kids are dressing up as, who they're buying things, like who their backpacks are at school, like it's obviously like Elsa and then it's Tiana.
Yeah.
Like I think that those are like the really hot commodities. And so, but at the same time, I think that waiting with a child in like once you've done a virtual queue and then you get in that line is going to be tough.
Well, and I want to say this, like last point, I guess, about it is that a lot of people too here have asked us like at work about like virtual queues, and they think that when you book the virtual queue, it's that you then just get to go and ride the ride that you've waited your time virtually, which is what
like Gas Pass.
Exactly, where then you'll like do like a return time. And someone compared it to me as like a universal thing when Jimmy Fallon was like a virtual queue, and I was like, I know nothing about it, so I can't tell, but like they said that Jimmy Fallon, it was like you booked your virtual queue and the time that you waited was not actually in the line. It was just like your time that you're waiting. And then you showed up and you got to right away go on Jimmy Fallon, which I think that's what people think. But then when you kind of come in the like the doors of Guardians and you see this line, then people go, oh, like it's a virtual queue, but really it's just you're waiting for other groups. So I think that it's interesting, but I think that it hopefully will go smooth. I hope like that they've kind of learned from other queues like a Remy's and
for them to
Tron
be able to have
Guardians.
you just walk onto the ride, nobody would be able to book a virtual queue. There would be like 100 in a day, and that's it. Because like they give you a window and you have to return in that window, but the window has like hundreds of people in it.
Yeah, exactly.
And so like you have to put them all in. And the only thing it does is that it stops the flow. Like you let those 100 people in, it stops the flow of like traffic. So you're not constantly having people add to the line and then you can start the line again. It's just like you're getting in multiple lines.
Yeah.
So like your group, I feel like, is like what number line you're getting in. So like you're in line number 87 if that's your boarding group number. And that's probably a better way to explain it than virtual queue, because virtual queue does feel like you're queuing for it and you're waiting your time, and then you should just get to go back on.
Yeah. So I think that it's kind of a good segue to kind of end on this. And we talked about like some princesses. And I think that this is like another topic of like things that are very popular. But of course, we all know that Disney is doing Moana 2. And we actually, before this, we had Heidi and Tommy watch the trailer to be informed, because like a little teaser, I guess it is more so than an actual full-blown trailer, came out for this movie. And I think that Moana is like a property that's going to have a bigger presence. I think that they did like the whole Epcot thing and they have her character meet and greet, but I think that there could very well be more like on the horizon at some point for Moana, because I think that it's very popular.
Good one.
Yeah. But I don't know what you guys like think about the trailer, what your thoughts are on the movie. Like, Tommy and Heidi, if you guys,
it's fresh in your brains.
Fresh in the brain.
Yeah, I think teaser is the best way to put it. I didn't really know what to expect, because like they kind of like whenever they announce stuff, and I should have known better by now, because they do it for every movie where they're like, oh, trailer coming out tomorrow, but it's not a trailer. Like there's no words. It doesn't introduce any new character. Yeah, there's like no words except for like the name Maui, and then Maui talks at the end. But I think it looks, I think it looks good enough. I think that especially if they kind of ported it over from being an animated series, I think it looks, movie quality. It doesn't look like an animated television show, which was like kind of an initial concern.
Yeah.
It looks like they're doing a lot of exciting stuff. They're revisiting those little coconut men, which I think is fun. Yeah. There's like a big like sea monster, and it looks like it's going to be kind of like an Odyssey-esque like seafaring adventure, which is, kind of what the first one was, and it went really well. So if it's just kind of hanging out with Moana and Maui and the chicken and the pig whose names I can't recall.
Hey and Pua.
Yeah, Hey and Pua. I think I'm okay with that. And like at the end of the day, I think kids will really like it, because they like the Moana world, clearly, because they won't stop watching it. And kids don't kids don't care if it's 6 episodes of a TV show stitched together into a movie. And if kids like it, it'll do well. And if it does well, we'll get, more good stuff. So yeah, I think I came out of it generally pretty positive, but it doesn't give you a ton.
No.
Yeah, I liked it. I just watched it too before this episode. I like the music. I love like the music in Moana. It just makes you feel like, I don't know, it makes you feel good. It makes you feel emotional. So they played a little bit of that. I liked all the characters in it. It's interesting to see, like, you can see a few different like new people, and there's like a little girl that kind of looks like Moana, and like kind of other family or other like people. So interested to see like who those people are and learn about them. But yeah, Maui's back, so that's good. I feel like it'll be another adventure, and I feel like it'll just be another like, I have a good feeling about it. I think it's going to be good.
Yeah, I think that they should have just like upped their ante and already added things in. Like I think that Moana thing should have just been more of Epcot, or somewhere else should already have a ride, so that you can release the movie and then have people immediately buy into more merch and things like that. Because I think it, like you said, like kids literally don't stop watching it. It's the one movie where like every single year in my classroom since it's come out, I can put it on, and like boys and girls alike are both like really into it.
And it's like kind of old now, right? It's like 7 years old.
It's older than my kids.
It's like pretty old for a movie, I feel like, especially a kids movie.
Yeah. I'm worried that the music won't live up to the original. That's my only concern, because I feel like the soundtrack is so good
It is.
that I'm nervous about new music.
I'm just excited. I think that like, which I don't know if this is just me that noticed, but I think that like Moana seems like a bit older. I don't know when this takes place, but she kind of looks maybe a bit like, you know what I mean? I think that she looks a bit more grown up and stuff. And I think that it's just going to be interesting to see. Like, I always like to revisit characters because I think there's lots that maybe is left to be desired, or that like you want to see, or like there could be more there. And I think like these characters all specifically, like people love all these characters. Like people love Hey Hey and Pua. They have them on merch and people buy the merch. There's like a big feet Pua. People love that. I love like the little joke at the end of like eggs and bacon is so funny. Like that's just what we'll call them now, Tommy. We don't have to know their names. We'll just say eggs and bacon.
Yeah, well, and there's a funny joke at the end too about like, why didn't you bring him last time? Because people love Pua. And they're like, why'd you leave Pua on the beach?
Yeah. So I just think that it's going to be good. I think that we're going to be in the Disney sequel era, and we've said this before, and I'm not mad about it at all, because I think like Disney does do a really good job. And I think like the best example of this is like a Toy Story, where they have their core characters, but they add good characters that are still, they're not like the same because you're not as nostalgic for them, but they're still really good characters. And I think that Disney does that very well with like even Inside Out too. Like I'm excited for Anxiety, and I can't wait to see like how those all work. So I think that Disney does a good job at sequels most times. And they're also able to like incorporate other characters in, and be able to have them kind of shine a lot too. So I'm excited to see like the original like group, and then whoever they add like along the way. Yeah, I think it'll be really good. I'm excited.
Yeah. You touched on Toy Story. So this week in my classroom, we did like Toy Story week. So I like transformed my classroom into like Andy's room and had all the characters. So leading up to it, we had watched during lunch all of the original Toy Story, and then most of Toy Story 2. And then like this week, we've gotten through, now we're done Toy Story 3. We're on to Toy Story 4. And the kids, like I have 26 and 7-year-olds who it's impossible to keep their attention through anything. Like even if they really are enjoying it, it's very difficult to get them like, and it's just during lunch, but just to watch and sit through it. They are so invested in these characters. They know who everybody is. Like if one of them says it wrong, they're like, no, Molly's his sister Bonnie is the new girl, and that's the one with Forky. And they like go like all out, and they're like, one of my kids literally said because a lot of them haven't seen Toy Story 4, which I thought was interesting.
Yeah.
But when we were finishing Toy Story 3, one of them said, I'm so excited to meet some new characters in Toy Story 4. And I was like, what? But so that now they're like, I have like a whole like little band of 26 and 7-year-olds who are counting down the days until the next Toy Story comes out.
Which is
I
awesome.
agree that I think the sequel era is like where they need to live right now in Disney and Pixar.
Well, and I was going to say that I know that we're kind of in that era because we got some new plush. I don't know, like if you guys have seen this in the Toy Story land here, and there's a Buzz and a Woody plush, and on the boots it says Bonnie.
They have been for a while,
and everybody is kind of like, oh my gosh! But some kids know that it's And then I had said to like this one guy who was older than me, and he said it's got to say Andy, and I said, dude, Andy gave them away. Like I'm so
in the movie,
like 14 years ago, pal.
In the movie, when it shows Andy's foot for the first time and it says Bonnie, my students like audibly gasped.
Yeah,
like they could not believe it didn't say Andy anymore and it said Bonnie. When he like gives it up, like to when he's going to college and does give Woody up, which is like I sobbed at work with my kids. But yeah, they're like.
But I just said, I just said, like he gave them up, and he goes, not to me, he didn't. And I said, well, he did. You can deny that it's Andy, but it's got Bonnie on that boot because they're Bonnie.
Maybe when we get to Toy Story 6,
they'll be back.
Andy's kids. Somebody will give all of the crew back to Andy's children, and then they can have Andy Jr. Yeah.
And then I had one little girl who said, well, then if this is Andy's backyard, why did the boots say Bonnie? And I said, good question.
Yeah. They're just back to hang.
There's a little plot twist there.
Let me write that down.
I'm gonna send that in. But I just think that it's like, people complain if we're in the sequel era. People complain about new stuff, and I just think that we're gonna get some good stuff. Like I'm excited for Inside Out. I'm excited for Moana, and then we'll have Frozen, Toy Story, Zootopia, like a lot of good stuff kind of on the horizon. But I just think that like it's a good thing to get more princess stuff of princesses that people want. Like people want more of these awesome princesses, and that's why that like people love like seeing them again, is because they're awesome characters and they're newer age princesses, and people just love that, kids
I
and
think
adults.
that's the thing, because even like Snow White's in the parks, but it's Seven Doors Mine Train. Like you don't even need Snow White
Yeah.
to sell that ride. Like you have like kind of like the sidekicks on that one. So I think you're right, bringing newer princesses in and just like heavy hitting those in the parks is the route to go.
Yeah. And I think that we can do one day, which we're talking about, like a whole lead up of like maybe things that we think they'll say at D23 or things that we want to see in the parks. But I think that you can clearly see, like even today, like a bunch of Inside Out merch was out. Like there is a lot of that stuff where they're kind of shifting, like now Joy meets at Hollywood Studios and they're kind of leaning into more Pixar. Like I think that you're starting to see little shifts in how they're going to incorporate maybe things into the parks. And hopefully that will lead, like we always say every episode, to good things for us in August when we're at D23. But like I kind of just want to say here as well that like there will be lots of stuff coming from all of us in terms of podcasts or videos or Instagram of like things happening. Like when Haley comes down, we'll get to ride Tiana's and that'll be fun. Like there's going to be lots of updates coming, and we'll be sure to share everything about all of the stuff that we're doing or that we see and stuff. Like whenever I do the drone show and it's not shoulder to shoulder, I'll give you my opinion, which people have been loving it so far, which I think is cool. I think that people like things overseas, and getting something that's kind of like a nod to overseas here, people like, and it's a cool thing at Disney Springs. But yeah, we're going to have lots of good stuff to come. I don't know if anyone else has anything to add on, touch on, any last minute thoughts.
No, I'm just excited for more Disney in our lives. I think I'm excited to see like the new stuff. I'm glad that like you're there to like report back on how things are, like even from like little things like merch and food to bigger things like rides and experiences opening. So, and obviously we've been talking about it since before we booked it, before we had the tickets in our hand. But D23 is just going to be such a good, like, it's kind of like an end to our summer, but like a start to back into like the thick of our podcasting, I think. So I'm excited for that.
Yeah. I feel the same way. I think it feels a kind of across the board with Disney as a whole. It feels like kind of like a realignment, especially with Bob Iger coming back. It feels like, they are kind of moving in a direction, and we're kind of starting to feel the massive ship that is kind of the Walt Disney Company like start to turn. So I'm interested to see kind of the direction that we can expect in the future. And, hopefully D23 has a lot of that in store. Really looking forward to it. Looking forward to getting with the squad in person.
I know. Yeah, seriously. Getting the squad back together will be amazing.
Will be amazing. And I was going to say, Heidi, now that this is coming out after you've been at Disney World, what were you most excited to do, that you got to do while you were here? What are some things? Everybody out there wants to know what can't you wait for? Because I think this is fun. Heidi told me that she has like a list of stuff.
I only started it recently. It was
on this list?
Sitting on the train. It's not very intricate. I want to get a frozen Coke at Hollywood Studios.
Yeah.
I want to do Indiana Jones. I want to eat a birria taco from Sunshine Seasons at Epcot. Ride Guardians in Tower and Flight of Passage. Have Mr. Kamal's fries. Bakey Jamaica. Swim in the pool.
Look at that.
That's it. So far.
And I'm pretty sure that we've done it all.
Okay, I hope so.
We will. But,
no, that's an attainable list. You'll have it done by the time this is airing.
For sure.
Yeah.
That's a good
For
list.
sure. No. So yeah, I just think that it's going to be so fun. And again, like I know that we've been apart for like, what is it, like 2.5 weeks? It feels like I've been here in Florida for
3 years.
It literally, like this whole time, and like anyone out there who's listening who's done a Disney college program or is doing one, like they're like our peaks and valleys. Like I had a day the other day with my friend Madison, and we did the parks all day and did anything that she wanted to do, and I needed like days to recover. I was like, I'm getting up there, clearly that I'm having a hard time with a 4-park one day, but we did like 30 things, which is like, it's crazy. But I just think that it's like one of those things where you do miss home, you miss people, and like even you guys, like we would call every day and do this. Or not, no,
every week.
every week. Oh my
We
gosh.
called every day.
Everybody out there is like,
all we
wow,
do.
they record every day. They talk every
There's
day.
70 podcasts. back in
Yeah.
Yeah, this
They're
is
like-
actually recorded eight
Yeah.
months ago.
They're like, why are you guys going bi-weekly when you got 70 episodes in the bank? But I just think that it's so like very different to like your routine, that it's like you do all these things and then you're here and your day can consist of going to do Guardians like and get a coffee, but then you're
Rub it
tired,
in.
which is so
Okay, Brandon,
silly.
we get it.
It sounds so hard. I can't
Jeez, what a
imagine.
life.
No,
my
all I'm
goodness.
saying is I'm excited for Heidi to come here, and I'm excited to see you guys in person, Haley, when you come, and then Disneyland. I just think that we're kind of right now in like a lull of Disney stuff because nothing kind of new is happening. But like in June, it's going to be like movies and Tiana's, and then it's kind of like a shift into like new things. I just think is going to be really great.
Yeah, we came to the realization we haven't been to the parks in a year.
Yeah.
Wow.
We haven't been since you like came down for your program last year.
Wow. Crazy. And
Tough.
you'll be here in like a month.
Yep.
Which is crazy. But this has been so fun. Hopefully you all enjoyed this this is like a more casual, just like a chit chat, because it's, we wanted to kind of like get into how the program's been and then just kind of touch on some like general Disney, like not even news, but just kind of like our thoughts on some stuff that's kind of coming, and also just like what we think will maybe like change in the shift of Magic Kingdom with like the Tiana's opening. So if you enjoyed this, keep on listening to new episodes here to come every couple weeks while I'm down here, and then we'll kind of get back into the regular like weekly stuff once we're back from D23 and have all that fun stuff. You can follow us anywhere at the Park Squad Pod on Instagram and YouTube and Apple Podcasts and Spotify. You can listen to older episodes where we kind of rank the parks and talk about stuff. And like I said, now that I've done stuff, I feel like that I'm better and more like equipped to say if things are good, underrated, or they are as bad as I rated them. But I think that it's just, going to be really great. Hopefully you're loving these because we love this podcast, love doing it. And we can't wait for all of the new Disney stuff to come so we can just keep on yapping about all that stuff in these mics and have a great time. So we hope that you enjoyed, and we'll see you in a couple weeks.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.